what we're here today to talk about is how to calculate your cost per mile. So whether you are a seasoned trucking business owner or you're new to the field, you're new to the industry, knowing how to calculate your cost per mile is really important. And not just knowing how to do it, but actually doing it, right? Because you can know how to do something and maybe not do it as often as you should, right? I know how to exercise every day. It doesn't mean I do it. So building that into your habits, your customs as a business owner is really important. And we're here in collaboration today with Trucker Calculator. I have a couple of people that are going to help us learn how to do this in real time. So we're going to actually take an example of a real trucking business and we're going to calculate their cost per mile. We're going to take a look at it, see if there's anything we can learn from it. But just do this exercise and make it transparent so that everybody knows how to do it and everyone can do it for their own businesses. So if you are not already subscribed to our YouTube channel, I hope you will do that. We have tons of videos on there, how-tos for the trucking industry, trends. Just take a look. It's a lot of fun. We have a lot of fun on our YouTube channel explaining all things trucking. And also our blog, bobtail.com/blog. Check out what we have on there. We try to alert everybody of new trends and particularly around fraud in the trucking industry. So that can be a really good source of information. So you can make sure that you are avoiding fraudulent loads and other situations. That's a big focus on our blog. So head on over, subscribe to our blog. You'll get a newsletter from yours truly every Monday. And also join our Facebook group. We have a Facebook group, Bobtail Help Desk. It's a place where people can just put their questions and get answers. And we go through and find real answers to those questions. Check that out as well. So we're going to kick it off. I want to introduce a good friend of mine, Igor Mira from Trucker Calculator. He is the genius mind behind the technology here that we're going to be looking at. It is a really cool tool. If you haven't checked it out yet, truckercalculator.com. You can create your own free account and use their calculator for free, which is very cool. Actually, you don't even have to create an account to use the calculator. You can kind of play around with the calculator before you create an account. But I do highly recommend that you create an account because then you can get access to other features. You can save the data. You can do all kinds of cool stuff with it. Igor, tell us a little bit about Trucker Calculator and show us Trucker Calculator, how to create an account, just so we can all get on the same page. If you are sitting down and you have a computer or a phone available to you, that you can follow along and do this with us even better.
Sure, Caroline, thank you for the introduction. And let me quickly show you how all of that looks like. Yeah, in the meantime, I can share my thoughts about why we created this calculator in general and
Sure.
what's the main purpose of it. So we are working within the company, the larger company named Trucking42, and we've been providing a large range of services to the small, medium sized carriers. So basically, it started from a dispatch, came along to safety, account management, and so on. And when the crisis started, we've started to notice a lot of our owners, our partner owners, they didn't manage to survive even when the crisis of the COVID started, probably because they were really not the businessmen. They weren't financial managers. They actually were just hard workers that work hard, driving their trucks, but they didn't know how to manage their finances. So we started to do calculations for them. It started in Google Sheets. Then we decided to move forward, and we created the first version of the website. It was a simple calculator page, and it allowed owners to solve a problem of the lack of knowledge of their finances, allowed them to calculate their cost per mile, their net profit, and even by that, they could do better decisions because those decisions were based on their actual numbers.
Again, truckercalculator.com, so you can actually see what we're working with here. You can see there's some default numbers in here, but you can replace these easily with your own. And so we're going to actually go through a real example of a trucking business. I'd also like to introduce Vladimir Flood He is a trucking business owner here in the US. And he's going to help us understand a little bit about cost per mile and apply it to the real world. So, Vlad, do you want to introduce yourself? Let us know what's your company all about and how long have you been in the trucking industry?
Hi, thank you for introducement. So my name is Vladimir Vlad. I'm with J White Enterprises. Started my business around 2.5 years ago when the market was booming, when everything was rising, and the prices were so beautiful that I couldn't resist, and I started to buy trucks. Back then, after the COVID, there was only one thing in mind. Every trucking company, where to buy trucks. So other than that, you could make arrangements of everything else. Build up a company. It was really easy. The problem was for real the shortage of the trucks. So basically, I started with a couple trucks, and after half a year, I had to, to really dig deep to find some more. And obviously, after I find some more, and I added to my fleet around 10 trucks, unfortunately, the prices started falling. It was March of 2022 when everything started going down. Obviously, we've had the war with Ukraine started, Russia and Ukraine, and based on that, the fuel started going up, and all of that together situated us in a bad spot. When I was thinking of this business, and when I started this business, I was never thinking that there will be rates per mile that wouldn't cover the cost per mile.
Right.
So but unfortunately, going through this downfall, we all see that now the prices are being so low that obviously we all are really surviving. A lot of companies are closing their doors just because there is not enough loads to the capacity that we all have. And unfortunately for me, I've been going down really, really drastically because I had to buy them trucks with a higher level of prices. And when a Freightliner Cascadia cost you on a usual price, $165 to $170,000, um, I had to buy mine for $225,000.
Wow.
So 50,000 in a difference, and plus the fuel was going up, and my cost per mile was really, really high. It was around back then like 230, 240 when we were making around the same, and then even less.
Right.
So I had to readjust a lot of things through the road to get into the situation that we are in today. Today, I have 18 trucks. That's part of them are owner operators, and that's a part of the survival. It was one of the options how to survive without the owner operators and the lease to own programs. I couldn't make it out here at all because, still you have to pay salaries to the drivers and make them payments for the trucks, fuel, and everything else. And I wouldn't make it through without my owner operators who were really working hard. Everybody's working hard now for real low pay, but we are really looking forward to a better market, to see better numbers, and to go through it. And from my perspective, as I'm looking at all of it, if I'm gonna go through this crisis, through these bad times, I feel like nothing will stop me to build up a really, really healthy business. That's how
Absolutely.
I
Well,
feel.
That's a great perspective to have, I think, at this point. The decisions that you made at the time were the decisions that a lot of people made. A lot of people thought in that really high really high rates that we were getting and seeing in 2021 and 2020, even into part of 2022. People thought, oh, this is the new normal. This is the new normal, everybody. We're gonna have these kinds of
It's a
rates
gold
forever, and
mine.
it's gonna be amazing.
Yeah, everybody
Unfortunately,
was
that's
thinking
just
it's a
not the
gold
reality.
mine. Yeah, and you just need to buy trucks, add people to the company, and just keep going.
Yeah.
But to be honest with you, going through all of it, I started driving dry vans. So everybody was doing dry vans because the
Mhm.
prices were really, really high on dry vans. And it's the easiest way to find drivers and
Sure.
to operate. And then obviously in 2022, around uh, June, July, we started purchasing a couple of flatbeds and going towards the winter season, we ended up taking a couple reefers into the company. So through the whole period of 2.5 years, we tried really everything, every single
Yeah.
kind of a trailer and every single option in our heads to make things possible. And obviously, me as a trucking company owner, I had no idea how to operate reefers, but reefers is a easier. Like you really switch from a dry van to a reefer very easy. It's just
Hmm.
the temperature that you got to control.
Sure.
And yeah, but the flatbeds are more tough, more different,
For sure.
and a lot of a lot of things to know. Plus, the equipment is not cheap at all. You got to invest
For
a lot
sure.
of money into the equipment to make it happen. So,
Absolutely.
but today, as of today, we have 8, 9 flatbeds, around 6 reefers, and a couple dry vans here and there. We don't do power only at all because it doesn't really make sense at all at this point. We've been doing Amazon, and it didn't work really well for us, but as of now we see the perspective in going forward, half reefer, half flatbed.
Interesting. Interesting. Well, that's really good to know. Igor, are you back with us? And are you able to share your screen to go through our example here?
Yes.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Excellent. Hi, Alex. I
Hey,
assume
nice
you
to meet
are
you.
Igor's trucking calculator, trucking 42
Right.
colleague. Is that right?
Yes, that's right. Yeah, we
Nice
work
to see you.
together.
Nice to meet you. Thanks for being here. I know that you are an expert in all things trucking finance. So we're excited to have you and to talk about this business. And thank you again to Vlad for letting us see these numbers so transparently. It's one of the things in that you'll notice if you spend any time on the internet looking at content on social media about trucking, is you've got some videos that will just brag about how much I made in a week, and then other videos that are just complaining about how bad the rates are. Both of these may be true situations, but they don't really show the reality of what it's like to run a trucking business. And there's just so few people talking about this honestly on the internet that we wanted to share content like this so that people can learn. So Igor, I will let you take it from here and we can go through and show an example on the calculator.
Thank you so much, Caroline. Yeah, finally I can show my screen right now.
Awesome.
So let me do that. Yep. Okay. Please just confirm that you can see my screen.
It's loading, and yeah, I think we're good. So
Amazing.
we've started with the total gross in the past. So can we talk about what time frame we're working with and how much we're going to put in total gross?
So, first of all, are we going to do the real calculation like for a specific period, or are we going just through an basic example? Because it all depends. The total gross, we can just pick the period right here in the calculator. We could calculate the net profit for example, the December month, and we could just enter all of our amounts that are valid for the December month. Speaking of total gross, again, our final mission would be to calculate the net profit and cost per mile, because these are two most important metrics to be tracking. But this calculator provides you with all the different metrics, such as how much you gain net profit per day and how much you gain specifically per mile, like each mile your trucks haul. I will put some numbers just for an example. Let's put 30,000 of total miles, sorry, total gross, 23 working days, and let's imagine 12,500 total miles. I have this result of 2.4 per mile. Let's smile and remember back times when it was true for the drive-ins, right?
But yeah, let's just have those sweet memories
Yeah.
of 2022 in our minds. But yeah, I think it makes sense to pull a month's worth of data. I think sometimes people will, we've gotten this question before of how often should I be calculating my cost per mile? Alex, I'd love to know your perspective on that, and Vlad, yours as well, how often you do that calculation for your trucks. I would say if you're just starting out to do this and you're just making it a new habit, monthly would be the minimum. So you're going to want to do this calculation for each one of your trucks on a monthly basis at a minimum. So 12 times a year minimum. And you might ideally want to do it every week if you have the time and kind of headspace to be able to do that. But I wonder, Alex, Vlad, what are your thoughts on that?
Right. I would not calculate it definitely every week. Why? I will
A
tell
lot
you.
of data.
Right. It's actually more about what exactly changed in the market, or what exactly is changing right now. So if there are no changes, like, I mean, you have the fixed expenses all the same, right? So you have the truck, trailer rent, physical insurance, physical cargo liability. It doesn't matter. So those are the fixed payments, and for the fuel, you almost all the time you spend almost the same thing. I mean. That's the only thing that actually might change when the fuel
Right.
goes up or
From
down,
week to
and you
week.
have to recalculate what exactly is your cost per mile now when the fuel got up, right?
Right.
If you have no changes on the fixed expenses, nothing changed. Maybe if you work for 1 or 2 years, after 2 years, your insurance is becoming cheaper. Then in this case, again, you might recalculate the rate per mile. Also, when the market on the drivers change, for example, when the market goes up, the drivers you have to pay the drivers more if you want to keep them in the company, because the market goes up, the salaries goes up as well. So when these changes are happening, actually that is the moment when you have to recalculate that. Before that, I mean, once per month is more than enough to just calculate your cost per mile and know exactly that. For each truck, by the way, you cannot calculate the same thing for all the trucks, because each truck has its own expenses, right? Even if we are talking about Vladimir's company right now, we were going through all these hard times together, and I know exactly what was happening. By the way, just a few words. Vladimir is one of the owners that I am surprised that he survived with his high expenses on the trucks. I would say that no one from my other owners survived, and he was the only person that he was interested actually in the calculating everything and all the time changing. Like he was switching all the trucks, I remember, from drive-ins to reefers, and it was all done because we were doing calculations and understanding that this is the only way we can survive right now, to just switch really quick everything. And I was doing the same stuff, trying to do the same stuff with other owners. They were just I don't know, probably being arrogant, right? And like yeah, it will not change anything, or stuff like that. even if you're showing the calculation. So
or just discouraged, right? I mean, you can imagine getting to a point where, anything I do doesn't work and I'm just going to give up. So that's also, an understandable response to the conditions that we felt.
yes,
In
exactly.
this, yeah, in a couple words, I would just, my thought with going through all of this was knowing your cost per mile, rates per mile, and the gross was the most important part in everything. And knowing how to talk to the dispatch, what changes, what moves to do, and even sometimes you better stay parked than you go for this kind of rates. So,
Right.
yeah, the calculator is the savior of especially crisis times when you
Yeah.
really need to calculate every penny to know where to go down in cost and how much rates per mile you can accept, what loads you
Right.
can accept and what loads doesn't make absolutely any sense. And there are a lot of loads that you have to always be on top and think about it and not let the dispatch book loads just for or just to go, so
Right.
it's got to be
Just to
always a
move.
reason.
Right. You never want to book a load just to move because you could be
Right.
losing money. You might as well, you'd be better off parking rather than losing money on a load. Igor, can we look at data from December from one of Vlad's trucks? I'm not seeing your screen shared anymore. Can
Yeah,
you?
actually, yeah, we cannot see the screen.
Let me continue. I have never closed the screen share, so
Yeah,
please
you can
just
actually
confirm.
take
Oh,
those
there it is.
three. You can take actually those three trucks on on a period of time of like three trucks, as Vladimir was saying. Probably will take the one lease own operator, the owner operator, right? Lease purchase and the company driver, if you
Yeah,
Yeah,
remember.
sure.
that sounds good. If we can start with just
So
one,
this way we can just see the difference like between different strategies of covering the truck or yeah
Will do.
operating the truck.
Will do. Before we get to that, just a quick moment to just explain quickly what is the cost per mile, because I hope everyone knows it, but from my experience, a lot of people doesn't seem to really care about it. The cost per mile is a very important metric, as just as Vlad said, it is very crucial to the decision making of your dispatchers, because everyone seems to be aware of rate per mile. The cost per mile is exactly the metric that you should care about when it comes to taking and booking the loads, because it's your bottom line. And in this calculator, you can calculate that cost per mile. As you can see right now, it's 0. I didn't manage to enter all of these expenses for the December month in this calculation, but the cost per mile is basically your total cost of the trucking divided by the miles that you've done. So, for example, if I just enter some expenses over here, I will do it. Sorry, not
I hope that's
35,000,
not.
but just yeah.
I hope you don't have a $35,000 truck payment.
Yeah, exactly. I've never seen somebody with such expenses, so no worries. I will just enter some amounts for the example, like some basic amounts, $3,500, $1,300 for insurance. Let's just say it's $1,200 for dispatch service, 8%, all right, for
And we can
factoring
see all the
4.
numbers changing
Yeah.
up top, right? So we already put 30,000 as the total gross, and so you can see what the profit is, the profit per day, the mile profit, and the cost per mile
Exactly.
there, and you can see that cost increasing.
All the amounts are changing on the go, and that's the thing I like about the calculator, and that's actually one of the main things that we made, that you could change things on the go and test different strategies and see the results while you're changing the amount, so you could test different strategies in the calculator, and also you could just simply calculate your real cost per mile and net profit as well. For example, for the December month, let me just quickly finish with all of potential expenses of a truck, right? I will just go with fuel simply by 65 cents per mile, and here is what I get. So here are all of my potential expenses that my truck might have. And in this example, my total expenses amount is $25,000 and 850, while my gross is $30,000. And in this case, my rate per mile is 2.4 and my cost per mile is 2.07. And that basically means that your dispatchers cannot and definitely shouldn't book loads that are below $2.07 per mile. Because if they do that, your truck that has such cost per mile would be running negative.
Exactly.
And yeah, that's the basic explanation of cost per mile. Also, what you can notice here is that calculator tells you what is your net profit in this case, what is your profit per day, and the mile profit. Mile profit is, you probably get it, it's basically the rate per mile minus the cost per mile, right? So you just get also the number of how much you actually gain net per mile, per each mile your truck hauls. And the next thing I would do is I just do what Alex asked me to do. I will log into Vlad's account, and I will demonstrate the difference between strategies and some intricacies that different types of trucks might have. For example, the first truck would be owner-operator, and next two trucks are going to be company driver with high expenses and company driver with low expenses. Let me quickly log into the account, and then I'm going to use statistics in Trucker Calculator to do that. One more thing before we do that. Actually, speaking of Trucker Calculator functions, to do what I'm going to do in just about a minute, you will have to track everything in the units menu. So basically, that's the field where you track all of your numbers and do the actual financial management in the software. So you just create the new unit, and within the unit, you are going to have the same calculator, but the main difference would be that it's just going to be connected with the calendar. You can choose how you want to do calculations, weekly or monthly. And despite the fact that for the beginners, it's definitely easier to do monthly calculations for people and for MC owners that really want to manage their finances. Still, I would recommend to do weekly calculations. And when we talk about the real example, Vlad is just doing that. And you can see that most of his units are tracked weekly, and that's what he has. I can tell you why. That's simply because when you do weekly calculations, you can spot mistakes that you might have in your financial operations earlier. For example, if you track it monthly, you will notice that this driver spends more on fuel than others when it's probably way too late. It will probably might cost you a few $1,000s more, right? If you track this weekly, you might have noticed it way before you've lost these thousands of dollars, and you would change something before, right? So that's the main reason, and that's of course not just applied to fuel expense. That could be applied to each expense, or not just expense. For example, the strategy of dispatcher that books loads, and that's why I usually recommend our users to do weekly calculations. Also, I must be honest with you, it takes time, especially if you have a larger fleet, right? So you should just make a decision by yourself, because it's really up to you. Managing your business is what you have to do because it's your business. So in this calculator, we just provide you with options. We provide with an option to do weekly calculations and with an option to do monthly calculations as well. So it's up to you. Vlad is doing weekly calculations. That's exactly what you can see here in this unit that I just picked for an example, and in the other units as well. But yeah,
So
let me.
which one are we looking at right now? Can you
Yeah,
tell us which truck we're looking at the numbers for right now?
yeah. Right now we're looking just at the general. It's truck 702, 1702, as you can see here.
That's an owner operator. And are we going to
But-
look at December?
Yeah. So it's not the truck we're going to discuss. I just
Okay.
wanted to demonstrate you the functionality of calculator. And let me quickly go to the statistics and pick the trucks we are going to talk about today. It is going to be truck 814, the truck, if I remember it correctly, 176, and the truck 806. All right.
And if you're an owner operator and you're operating just, one or two trucks in your business, this is going to look like a lot of information that might not, be entirely relevant to your situation, but you can add in here as many trucks as you want to. So you can just add yours, and a business partner's, and you can see how to do this. So tell us what trucks we're looking at. What equipment are these?
Yeah. I think I might hang it over to Alex. So Alex, please. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, I don't remember actually. Howard is Vladimir. You can help me out here. Howard is
Yeah.
driver and reefer.
Yeah, he was a reefer. Yeah,
Michael
Michael reefer.
and Eric.
Eric is reefer as well. So we have
Oh,
apples
amazing.
to yeah.
All
That's
right.
good because we can compare.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
Yeah,
comparing
apples to
apples to
apples, right?
apples. Yeah, good.
Right. Okay, so we have three drivers basically. We have, as far as you can see here, the black, the black one is showing us the the grass, and we have the net profit with red or green. Okay, so we can see here right away that we have one driver in red. So from the period of October 1st until today, we have the driver Howard running the company in negative at $9,300. We have Michael. Michael is only $3,000 in this 3.5 months, right? And we have Eric as $19,000. All three drivers are basically different because we have Eric driving as a lease owner, lease lease to own. The truck is in lease to purchase for this driver. Michael is a company driver, and Howard is actually an owner operator or a company driver as well. Yeah, okay. So we have two company drivers and we have the lease purchase. All right, yeah, let's go. You can open Howard and we'll go through a bit through this guy.
Yep. Before we do that,
Yeah.
I just want to do a simple mention that in statistics you could analyze, as you probably see, I'm just going to navigate you through. You could analyze graphs by gross and net profit, working days and profit per day, total miles and mile profit, rate per mile and cost per mile, and expenses comparison for all of these trucks. So I'm about to open Howard, right? Alex?
Right. Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, we'll go with the negative one.
yeah.
Let's see.
Okay. Right now, I'm
Neat.
reviewing a breakdown of all of the
Yeah.
weeks that are within the period we've selected. So from October to the current day. And here are all the weeks and all the results for each week, and the breakdown in the sheets of all of the numbers for Howard specifically.
Can we
Okay,
take a
let's-
look at the calculator itself
Right,
and
yeah.
see a month of expenses and gross for that driver?
Could you please say that again? What do you?
Could we see? We want to see in the calculator.
Oh, okay.
Can we look at the calculator that we were looking at before and see
Yeah,
the
sure.
gross and the list of the expenses? I feel like that would
Yeah.
help us understand. And yeah, we can look at December or November.
Yeah,
as-
exactly. we could go for a monthly view mode in calculator. So since Vlad is doing weekly calculations, we are able to combine all of the weeks into monthly reports. So right now for December, you see that results are quite frustrating, minus $6,000. Alex, please guide me through, help me analyze all of the months. But let's
Yeah, okay.
begin with January.
When actually we are looking at a month, it's really hard to understand exactly what was happening with the driver. Again, the
Okay.
weekly would be more efficient. So you can choose a week, for example, I don't know, any week, probably one negative, one positive, and see exactly go through those numbers. So this is driver Howard, right?
Yeah, sure thing. Here we have a breakdown in history of all of the weeks with a quick summary of net profit and cost per mile. Yeah, pick any one you want. You see, here's the number of
Take
week. Okay, and the net
40.
profit.
I saw the 40 was the first week that was actually negative for this driver, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah. You see, like also
Yeah, okay.
we've had some negative before, but yeah, let's begin with 40. All right. Okay. Let's begin.
All right. So we go and see the truck payment is 1,256. The monthly payment for this truck is extremely high. I mean, it's extremely
The
high.
highest in the fleet,
Yeah,
$5,000.
I literally saw this number only with Vladimir. I have another trucks. The max that I saw with other companies is 4,000. Like Vlad has one truck that he's paying monthly $5,000, so that's definitely a high rate. Trailer payment only $1,000. That's a good one. Truck insurance 2,300. This I would say is all the insurance, cargo liability, truck, trailer, all of that, right? William Vlad.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, it is.
yeah. So that's an average rate. Let's say it like that. Pre-pass is okay. Highway registration. All of these are actually average expenses on the market. Let's go with the dispatch. The dispatch for you is quite low. It's I guess it's only due to the fact that you have a lot of trucks. Now safety 61.5 weekly is also an average rate. Factoring is very low. I know that you negotiated a lot there. Okay, yeah, let's move. Okay, now we have the fuel. 66 cents per mile on that market was the average. Everything is good here.
Yeah, just a quick notice that here you have a breakdown for each expense, for each field that you have, of the breakdown of the first number is the percentage of gross, and the second one is your cost per mile. So you get the breakdown of the specific cost per mile for each expense. Yeah, for example,
Right.
for fuel, it's 66 cents per mile.
Right, and usually like the fuel, everyone has to understand in trucking that the fuel is actually always around 30 to like 29 to 32% is the average for the fuel expense, only for the fuel. And usually the driver is another 30%, and you are left with 40%, and you have to like do some way that at least you'll be left with 15 to 20% on a bad market as a net profit. So in this case, if you go up, we'll see that the truck actually has the truck payment only has another 10%. 17. Oh my God. Yeah, that's a lot.
Almost 18,
yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So we
You,
have only the driver's salary, the fuel, and the truck expense already at 80%. So, I mean,
yeah.
that's, yeah, no,
I,
we
do,
saw that.
I don't see driver salary here. Maybe Vlad just has forgotten
Okay.
to add it here.
Just go lower, please.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, I definitely don't see it here. We could edit.
Yeah,
Vlad,
you can go lower.
how much are you paying to your driver? You don't have that.
30%.
Yeah, you don't have a driver expense here, so probably it's a mistake.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, 30% of the gross.
So it's wages and bonuses. We could change that, no problems. Here I can add it. Okay, driver salary.
Okay, so we have even more
30%.
negative then.
All right. And the
Maybe
minus
you was
is
driving that week, Vlad. Maybe you was driving that week. You had
Maybe,
this.
maybe.
are
Yeah,
you
I had the
driving?
unit. So, by the way, yeah, in order to make this market and to make this crisis, I decided to go myself on the road. So, when somebody is resting for a week or two, taking vacations and stuff
Oh,
like that, I fly and pick up the truck and drive it for them. And I did it for this couple years now. And I feel like, honestly, everything that we're making through these 2 years is going towards the payments and everything else. So I haven't even a chance to take home a lot. So yeah, we're really in a surviving mode. But for real, other than that, you cannot do anything about it. If you want to survive, you survive. If you don't, you just let it go. But yeah, like I said, back then when the market was high, the only thing that was missing were the trucks. So I had to find trucks, no matter what was the price for them. So that's why we're taking them examples to show you the real life of of a trucking company which made some mistakes while the market was really really high.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, this is such a it's a
Good.
tough example, but I really appreciate seeing the real life numbers because it just puts into context everything that we've been seeing in the market and all of the news that we've seen coming out of this. So, if you are if you are in the green right now on your trucker calculator, you're probably feeling really good about yourself. And you
Yes,
should be
that's right.
because getting into the green is tough work.
It's really leveling up. So some of the trucks will go minus, some of the trucks will go
Sure.
plus, and you're trying to manage it this way. And obviously, truckers cannot be on the road for the whole month.
True.
So, regardless of how much they make, there will be a week that the truck is going to sit at a parking lot. And those expenses, the fixed expenses, will eat you up. So, when I have too many trucks sitting, obviously I'm going to be the one or somebody's going to be the one covering the payments. So
Yeah.
I didn't find a way other than flying to them, picking up the truck, and moving it. But yeah, but hopefully
I
we'll
think
go
we're,
through it.
knock on wood, but hopefully we've seen the bottom of the industry. That was probably around that time that we're looking at right now.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit earlier in 2023, when we saw the bottom of the industry. And I know we're seeing a little bit of climbing out of that hole this month. So to put ourselves in good spirits to close out
Yep.
this part of our event, let's go to a positive week on one of these trucks. Can we
Let's
see
do
a
that.
positive week and see what that looks like? Because
So
Yeah.
hopefully that's what most of our weeks look like in this business. But
Hey, let's go with
unfortunately,
Eric.
we're going to have
Let's go
weeks
with Eric.
like this when we're,
All
So
right.
we took these three examples just in a couple of words. I just wanted to say that we took these three examples to show how bad it could be
yeah.
and how good sometimes it could be and how I go through it. So by adding them owners, operators, and lease to purchase, those ones are the key guys who leveled the numbers in the
Mm,
company.
Yeah, and if you would like to have some positive news and positive information, you could see that in total for these three trucks, the net profit is almost $12,000 for these months we've selected. So we could just switch to from the comparison mode to analyzing graphs for the period. And this way we would get the breakdown for each week for all of the trucks we've just selected. And you could see that most of the weeks are in the green when
yeah.
we talk about all of the trucks in total. So that's something good already. You could see, yeah, here are some like 4 weeks in a row with minus, but still most of them are running in plus, and that's why we get our net profit for $12,000. And our best example here would be Eric, right? Uh, Let me quickly find him here. All right. And we could analyze his total results in the sheets, or we could open him and analyze each week specifically. Alex, guide me through. What would you like to see here?
Which and any that has, like, you take the best one I see here, 51, week 51.
Okay.
Yeah, let's look at the best ones. We got the whole range. The
Okay.
worst week of Vlad's life and the best week of Vlad's life.
Enough crying, guys.
Let's do that. Okay. Guide me through.
All right.
That's really strange. You have only 5,900 and net profit is 6,300.
Oh,
Cannot
how
be.
did we get that?
Maybe we might have a mistake here. Let me quickly check what might be wrong. Okay, total gross, working days, total miles. Monthly expenses, deductions.
So it's a list to own operator, and
Okay.
basically I
Take
do have
another one.
expenses here, but all of the expenses are being
That must be the
deducted.
deductions that are making
Ah,
that
Right,
positive
right, right.
number.
So basically, the company is making pure profit out of this boys. But yeah, obviously, we created a good team to help them out making their profits.
Okay, so yeah, about the lease purchase, this is actually one of the strategies that you can choose in any market, and you will always be profitable. Is that calling? 1 second. Sorry.
Let me still try to reload this page. It doesn't seem to be looking right. I'm not sure
All right.
why.
And we do have
Sorry
a
about it.
limit on time tonight. So we're gonna have to move through this a little more quickly so that we get everybody out in time. But it looks like this, because it's the deductions that happened in that month,
Yeah.
that you've got a positive number there. So that's a good week for Vlad, and that's interesting to see how this can work with different types of drivers and different arrangements of how you have the different ways of running a company. So thank you again so much, Trucker Calculator, and so much, Vlad, for helping us see some of the real numbers in trucking. And if you are interested in using this tool, truckercalculator.com, go and create a free account. It's quite a powerful tool that you can use. And
Yeah.
I'm going to go ahead.
Caroline, I'm sorry. Just I figured out why the number is the
Yeah.
net profit is more than the total gross. You could see that we are basically doing a weekly calculation, right? Sorry, I just was really curious
Yeah,
about this situation because I'm developing this website and this didn't seem right to me, but I figured out. So
Yeah.
the fixed expenses are weekly over here, and you could see that the weekly cost is $840 in total. While we have our deductions
Right.
that actually the driver is paying to Vlad directly, they are covering these fixed costs and all of the other costs. So basically,
Yep.
driver is overpaying. He is paying to Vlad directly, right? And I don't see the amount of his salary though. How much?
Yeah.
I got.
How much?
We've moved already. We cannot see the screen, so it will be.
Let me quickly share this.
Just
Yeah,
press it.
that's all right. We are
Okay.
up on time, Igor. So I'm sorry we had to cut that short. We will get a recording out of the event to everyone, Christina. So no worries on that end. Jude, you had a good question. How does this work when you are not the only one, or when you're not the only one driving, right? So Jude, because the driver gets mad when they're not moving and they threaten to leave. That's a really, honestly, really important question. How do you balance if you're not the only one driving and you have to make sure that the driver is going to make something so that they don't leave? They have to be happy with their position with you, or they're going to head out, right? So you have to, that's something that you'll have to balance every time, right? If you're not getting the loads with the right at the right rate, and you have to park the truck, then your driver might not be too happy about that, and that's understandable. So it's all about balancing those things and making sure that whoever's dispatching for you, or if you're dispatching yourself, that you have strategies in place to get better rates when you need them, because sometimes you will make money on one load, and maybe we said, sometimes it's better to park your trucks, but in other cases, maybe it is worth taking one load where you're going to lose a little bit of money so that your driver makes some and stays happy. But it's not a load by load decision. It's over a long period of time. And we've already seen in Vlad's case that you can lose a lot of money in 1 week and then make it up the next week. And so it's about balancing that from week to week, from month to month, and trying to get together a decent business strategy that will help you into the future of your business. So it's never a simple answer, unfortunately, in managing any business. And I know that from hearing from lots of our carriers here at Bobtail. And I want to talk about that for a few minutes before we close out, of the other ways. So we've now learned how we're going to calculate our cost per mile and how we're going to calculate how much we made per mile. But then what are some of the strategies that you can put in place so that you are getting better rates and holding on to more of that money? And one of the things that we focus on here at Bobtail is to get trucking business owners access to ethical, transparent financial services. And that is critical for business owners. If you have been in trucking for any period of time, you've probably heard of factoring services. You're probably maybe even factoring your own invoices. And if you factored with a couple of different companies, you know that there is a huge range in the quality of those services and how much they can help or hurt your business. And so one of the strategies that you can use to make sure that you are keeping more of that money that you make is by having a really high quality factoring service that actually protects you and has processes in place for always getting all of the money from your invoices. You know that there can be chargebacks from brokers. There can be disagreements about how and when the loads were delivered, about the status of the inventory of the load, and all of that. And you can get into arguments with brokers when you're trying to collect on those invoices. It's really useful to have someone at your side that can protect you and help you hang on to more of your money. So I'm going to hand it over to Vero for a couple of minutes, and she's going to tell us more about Bobtail's factoring service and how it can help your business.
Thank you, Caroline, and thank you for the time allotted. And yeah, I mean, definitely we're looking at different ways how we can manage our small business, and keeping those drivers happy is very important. That requires us to have cash flow, right? We don't know what kind of maintenance may have to be done to the truck, and we just need to get that cash flow. So it's very important to decide to get factoring early in your business stage, because you want to make sure that you can set your business in the right path. One of the best things at Bobtail is that we work with all types of trucks. The only thing that we don't factor for is power hauling. We work with 30-day agreements where you don't have to worry about long-term contracts. There's so many factoring companies. Caroline mentioned, there are so many options out there. Are we knowledgeable about what type of factoring companies are out there? What makes them different? And one of the major things that makes us different from many of the factoring companies is we only charge you a rate to factor that invoice. We don't charge you for anything else other than factoring that invoice. I've heard so many types of fees, such as, an invoice fee. I mean, who prints paper now? Everything's done electronically. So why should there be a charge? We don't have any reserve fees. There's no excuse for all these other fees that are being charged by factoring companies. And that also, they're also providing you a long-term contract, which adds another fee, which is a termination fee. in the case you're not happy with them, you would have to cancel. And if it's not a 1-year agreement yet, then you have to pay and I've seen $15,000 worth of termination fees. So all this information is very important to take into account when you're deciding what factoring company you're going to go with. In Bobtail, we deal with 30-day agreements. If you're not happy with us, which is very unlikely, guys, I don't want to say we're the best company and perfect company, but actually we don't really have any cancellations. Our cancellation rates are very low, and it's because we give our carriers the freedom of deciding whether they want to be with us or not. And that is already, an easy relationship to have with a factoring company. One of the best things, we're very transparent. Like Carolyn said, we're very transparent not only in these workshops, but we're very transparent with the information that is provided to you through our platform. You're able to see what chargebacks you have. You're able to see, what brokers we need to continue following up with because we're not able to collect. And we're on your side. Just like Caroline mentioned, we're working for you on your side to make sure that we can collect for that invoice. Another best thing for Bobtail, we have a referral program. You can become a carrier, you can refer other carriers and generate a reward just to refer other carriers. And if you're not a carrier, don't worry, you can become an affiliate of ours. And we can also reward you just for referring a carrier to us as well. So don't think about it twice, guys. You want to be aware everything is transparent. And if you're interested in learning more about our factoring services or our referral programs, like Caroline just showed us there on the screen, that's the contact information to reach out to us. Thank you, Caroline.
Thank you, Berto. And I think we've seen that in, trucking companies can have really, really good weeks, really, really bad weeks, and every truck can be going up and down. If you have a really, really bad week or a bad month in your business and you're not happy with your factoring company, but you have to pay a $10,000 termination fee to get out of the contract, you're not going to get out of that contract. Because if you've had a bad month, you don't have $10,000 to spend on a termination fee. You don't want to be in that position. So whether or not you come to us for factoring, if you're coming up on your factoring contract's date, when it's going to expire, give them notice, tell them that you're looking at other options, and go shop around. See if you can get better terms. See if you can lower the cost, the overall cost. You might have what you think is a really good factoring rate, but then you might come to a place like Bobtail where we don't charge any extra fees, and you might actually see that a higher factoring rate, but with no fees, you're actually paying less money for factoring than you were at your other. So if you're coming up on that contract, shop around. Let us know if you're interested in talking to us. We can put you in touch with a representative, and I hope that you'll give us a shot. There's no cost or no risk to you, right? So you can come and go as you please. So with that, thank you so much for joining us. We will be putting this recording on YouTube.
Don't forget to calculate your cost per mile in a Trucker Calculator, since it's free. It doesn't cost you anything at all, and you could use all the options we have basically for free. We're providing this tool for free. So go to the website right now.
What's the minimum term of the contract? If I want to go ahead. Yes, I want to go ahead now.
It's a 30-day. Yeah, it's a 30-day agreement. So there is no long-term contract. If you are unhappy with our service, you can give us 30 days notice, and we'll convince you to stay, of course, and you'll want to. But if you really want to get out, you can, and there's no cost, no additional cost.
Okay, but if I am not going from the first month, I like everything, is it automatically renewed? And if yes, for how long? Every 30 days?
30 days, just 30 days. So I can see why you're asking that, because there are factoring companies that will give you like a 30-day agreement for the first 3 months, and then you sign on for a year, right? That's not how it works at Bobtail. At Bobtail, it's just 30 days, and it automatically renews every 30 days. So you don't have to worry about losing access to your account or anything after those 30 days. If you're not giving notice, we just assume that you want to keep factoring with us, right?
Right.
And you can factor with us. We've had people who have been factoring with us for 8 years, I think. So we've got people who have been on for many, many years.
Okay, yeah, that's amazing.
If we have to go to
that's
the
amazing.
shipper to get payment, we'll do that. So that's just, some of the, that's what I mean when I say a lot of our people are going above and beyond to get people paid. We will have another event for Spanish speakers in 2 weeks on February 1st. So if you are a Spanish speaker, please keep an eye out for that. And if you're not, the 2 weeks after that, we will have another event in English. If you have any ideas of what topics you'd like to see, we've done cost per mile for a couple weeks. Before, we've done how to avoid fraud in trucking. We've done how to get better rates from brokers. We actually had a broker join us on one of these calls last year and give us the inside scoop on what he looks for in carriers. If you have ideas of what you'd like to see in one of our workshops on one of our calls, let us know. You can always write to me at hello@bobtail.com. That is not a faceless inbox. I do check that inbox every single day. So if you write to me there, I'd love to hear from you. And you can also check us out on bobtail.com and all of our socials. So with that, thank you so much again for everyone who joined us tonight. It was an awesome conversation. Really appreciate the questions about factoring and financial services. Definitely hit us up if you're interested in checking us out. Thanks so much again.